Okay, welcome to the deep dive. So today we are diving into something, well, it's fascinating, but fair warning, it's pretty dense.
Mm-hmm.
We have this collection of pages here from a text called Liber Magi sub Figura I. Looks like it's probably from the equinox.
Right.
But what makes these pages really, really unique are all the handwritten notes. They're just scrawled all over them.
Yeah, it's like listening in on a conversation almost. You've got the original text and then someone else's thoughts layered right on top.
Exactly.
So you're not just getting the official doctrine. You're seeing how someone actually engaged with it, their own insights, maybe even their struggles.
Totally. So our mission really is to unpack these pages, the text and the notes. We want to get a handle on the core ideas about this figure, the magus, as it's presented here in this specific system.
And see how those annotations kind of deepen things, or maybe sometimes complicate them.
Yeah. Think of it like we're exploring one particular, very detailed map of, I don't know, a spiritual landscape.
Or consciousness?
Right.
Exactly. And maps like this, they aren't just descriptions, are they? They often lay out a path, a process, attainment, transformation. This deep dive is really about understanding that specific blueprint.
All right, let's jump in. Right at the beginning, point 00, it gives us this sort of fundamental definition. 1 is the magus, twain is forces, 4 is weapons, 7 are the 7 spirits of unrighteousness, 7 vultures of evil, and then this kicker. Thus is the art and craft of the magus but glamour.
Okay, so right away, you've got this core duality, don't you? Twain forces. Suggests balance, maybe tension?
Yeah, and then contrasted with these external negative things, spirits, vultures.
But that line about glamour is so important, I think. It's saying the outward stuff, the art and craft, isn't the real deal. It's just show.
Right, the real power isn't the flashy bits.
The real essence must be something deeper.
Okay, so then point 0 brings in a really key force. It says, yet the magus have power upon the mother, both directly and through love. And the magus is love, and bindeth together that and this in his conjuration. And boom, right there, a crucial handwritten note. Love is the law, love under will.
And that is just vital, isn't it? It connects the magus's power, this like fundamental creative thing, the mother, maybe substance or form, and love.
Yeah.
But the note, love is the law, love under will, it takes love from just being, an abstract feeling and gives it direction, purpose, will.
Weight of love.
Exactly. It's not just affection. It's an active, directed force. And that specific kind of love is what connects the ultimate that with our world, this. It's the engine.
Directed love is the engine. Okay. Then point 1 throws a real curveball, a paradox. In the beginning doth the magus speak truth, and send forth illusion and falsehood to enslave the soul. Yet therein is the mystery of redemption.
Whoa, yeah.
How can you speak truth and send out falsehood in the same breath? And how does redemption come through the illusion?
It really makes you question the whole system's view of reality, doesn't it? It seems to suggest that our normal state, the soul state, is already caught in illusion.
So the magus sets that up.
Apparently, that initial act of creation or manifestation involves both. Look at the note here. Plus, he preaches lingam ioni. That hints at fundamental union generation. Creation itself having duality built in. So the mystery, the path to redemption, isn't about escaping the illusion from the outside. It's about finding the truth within it, or through it. The illusion is part of the structure.
So the illusion is necessary, not just an obstacle. Wow.
Seems so. That's a powerful concept.
Building on that, point 2 says, by wisdom made he the worlds, the word that he is speech. And there's that note. He's the noto si.
Linking creation, wisdom, the word, directly to the magus's identity.
It's a specific term in this for this
We don't have the full definition right here, but putting it there basically says the magus is this core concept, the engine of creative speech.
Got it. Then point 3 immediately asks, how then shall he end his speech with silence?
Right, so you go from creation through speech, and the question becomes about the return journey. Back to silence, back to potential, transcendence, something before or beyond sound and form.
From utterance back to the unexpressed.
Yeah.
Okay, now point 4 brings in numbers to define identity. He is the first and the last.
Alpha and omega.
Yeah. And the notes here are pretty wild. How shall he cease to POC 401, a prime number himself? And then A801, 9 by 89.
Okay, so this system is definitely using gematria, number values, for core concepts. The magus is alpha and omega, the total package.
Right.
The note calls him a prime number 401, fundamental, indivisible, maybe.
And the question linking him to pi.
How shall he cease to Pax 401? It's complex. Pi is transcendental infinite, linking that to his prime identity. It's asking how something so fundamental, potentially infinite, could ever end. It's deep.
Wow.
And the 801 gives a value for that totality, but shows it can be broken down, 9 by 89, hinting at structure within it. These notes are showing the Magus's identity is tied up in these deep cosmic numerical relationships.
His very nature defined by numbers.
Oh.
Okay, point 5 talks about how this knowledge gets passed down. By a magus is this writing made known through the mind of a magister.
A hierarchy. Magus transmits, magister receives.
Right. The one uttereth clearly, and the other understandeth, yet the word is falsehood, and the understanding darkness. There's that paradox again.
Yeah, it's persistent, but look at the note here. It's key. All is Maya.
Illusion.
Exactly. The perceived world is an ultimate reality. And it goes further, using Kabbalah terms, chokmah, wisdom, bina, understanding, kether, the crown, unity.
Right.
It says even these high concepts, the triad, are only perfect together in the one, in kether. Separately, they're partial.
So, even the clearest truth, once spoken or understood conceptually,
Is still a reflection, a partial view. Compared to the absolute unity beyond concepts, it's inherently limited. So it's falsehood or darkness. It's a limitation of language and form itself.
Wow. So even the highest transmitted knowledge is still kind of filtered through Maya.
Yeah.
Okay, point 6 just places the text in the equinox. Then point 7 to 11 describe the Magus's tools, his weapons. With the wand createth he. With the cup preserveth he. With the dagger destroyeth he. With the coin redeemeth he.
The 4 core actions, right? Creation, preservation, destruction, redemption. These are the tools the Magus uses to shape reality in this system.
And it asks, how then shall his weapons fulfill the wheel? And on what axle turneth not unto him?
It suggests these actions drive the whole cycle of existence, the wheel. And the axle part implies complete mastery. There's no central principle or aspect of this manifested reality that's outside his influence or understanding. He masters the whole system.
Mastery over the cycle itself. Okay, points 12 and 13 talk about needing to cease the curse of his grade to get to that which existeth without form.
Right. So being a magus, as high as it is, still isn't the end goal. There's a limitation, a curse associated with that grade.
And the ultimate aim is formlessness.
Exactly. And crucially, it says the magus manifests on Earth specifically for this purpose, to work through that limitation and move towards the formless.
So being here in the physical isn't a mistake or a detour.
No, it's the necessary place, the crucible, for that final stage of the work, according to this text.
The earth as the crucible. Okay, point 14 gives a really direct instruction. Let him beware of abstinence from action. And it repeats, the magus must speak truth and send forth falsehood.
Can't just sit back, even if the goal is silence or formlessness. Gotta stay engaged.
And here are those really specific notes again. A calculation. Pec 77 to 3/4 cursing.
More gematria. Linking pi again, this time to 77 3/4, and connecting it somehow to cursing, maybe that paradoxical act of manifesting truth via falsehood. It shows these actions are tied to number.
And the other note, he must put D into endine to get.
Yeah, it's intelligent.
Yeah, that looks like Kabbalistic letter manipulation. Daleth D into shin, yielding NDNA, interpreted as silence. It's like a coded instruction, perform the symbolic or numerical operation as a way to achieve that silent state mentioned back in point 3.
So the notes are almost like practical coded techniques.
Could be. Or deep symbolic insights.
And then right below point 14, that really striking bit connecting the Magus's truth to major world figures. Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad. This was truth.
Wow. Yeah, that's provocative. It's mapping the core idea of the Magus onto these huge historical figures.
In the specific interpretation of Muhammad's message.
Right. It says people focused on Allah is one, the sort of outer truth, but missed the deeper layer, La'al no, God, which the annotator sees as the real essence, aligning with this system's idea of an ultimate reality, maybe beyond God as usually conceived.
It's reframing their messages through this specific esoteric lens.
Totally. And look, another calculation. 401 equals 12 plus 202. Reinforcing that number 401 we saw earlier, linked to the Magus, Pax 401. Showing another mathematical property, maybe hinting at its stability or foundation.
It's constantly weaving number, symbol, and these figures together. Point 14 also continues, describing the Magus achieving their original nature without fear, shaping it and manifesting differently like a gentleman, being a Hindu, or with fierceness and servility, being a Jew, or arger being in Arab.
Oh, yeah, this emphasizes the universality again. It's not about adopting one specific mask, but about expressing that core, fearless original nature through different cultural or spiritual forms, mastery over different modes of expression.
Okay, point 15 then looks beyond the Magus grade. It introduces, now the grade of a Magister teaches the mystery of sorrow, and the grade of Ipsissimus, the mystery of change, and the mystery of Pan, mystery of selflessness also called.
Right, so it puts the Magus in context. There's a path beyond. Magister deals with sorrow. Ipsissimus, the highest one named here, deals with change, mastering impermanence.
And that mystery of Pan.
Selflessness.
Exactly. It links that highest state, Ipsissimus, to Pan,
Right.
nature, totality, the wild maybe, and crucially, selflessness, suggesting shedding the individual self is the key to that ultimate attainment.
Overcoming sorrow, mastering change, ending in selflessness. Okay. Points 16 and 17 get into the method for the Magus. It's contemplation, but more than just meditation, leading to the ultimate power of infinity.
Right, an active, directed contemplation.
And it requires joy, stability, and selflessness.
Those qualities seem crucial as a foundation. Joy, stability, and there's selflessness again, linking to the Ipsissimus goal.
Point 17 calls this success that and describes it as combining a trinity into Sat Chidananda.
Being consciousness bliss from Vedanta.
And light, love, life, 3 by 3 into 9 that are one. Ultimate unity.
Yeah, consolidating these trinities into one.
And it mentions this state is first hinted at way earlier in the Grade of Practicus from another text, Liber 2b7, something about reflecting Mercury. Right, reflecting Mercury, mind, communication into the lowest world. It shows the system has this internal consistency where echoes of the highest state appear even in early stages. It's like a fractal pattern.
And that note here.
Yeah.
Here is nothing under its three forms.
That's huge. It connects that being consciousness, bliss, light, love, life, back to the concept of nothingness. Or maybe emptiness.
The ultimate reality is nothing.
Paradoxically, yes, but maybe nothing, not as absence, but as pure potential, the void from which everything arises. And that potential is experienced in these three modes, Sat Chidananda, or light, love, life.
Wow. The ultimate is nothingness. Experience is totality.
Okay.
Point 18 makes another explicit connection, and this is the opening of the grade of Ipsissimus, and by the Buddhists, it is called Nirodha Samapatti.
Yep, a direct correlation. It's saying the peak state in the system, Ipsissimus, is equivalent to a specific, very high meditative state in Buddhism, Nirodha Samapatti, cessation of perception and feeling, often linked to nirvana.
So it's claiming universality for its highest attainment.
It strongly suggests that, yeah, like saying, our map calls this peak Ipsissimus, their map calls it Nirodha Samapatti, but we're talking about the same summit.
Interesting. Reinforces how looking at specific systems can show these recurring patterns. Okay, points 19 and 20 get pretty heavy about responsibility. Woe upon 7 times him that preacheth not his law to men.
A duty to teach.
And woe also be unto him that refuseth the curse of the grade of Imagus and the burden of the attainment.
Right, so you can't just get there and keep it to yourself. There's an obligation to share this law, this understanding. Withholding it is bad news.
And you have to accept the downside, the curse or burden.
Seems so. Attainment isn't just bliss. It comes with this cost, this responsibility. You have to accept the whole package. And look at the note by point 19. Returns to extension work for a moment.
Ah, right.
Even here, talking about high grades, there's this reminder about practical outward work, teaching, engaging with the world. It's not all just internal.
A mandate to share, even the difficult stuff. Okay, the very end, point 21. And in the word Ciaos, let the book be sealed. Yea, let the book be sealed.
Whoa! Ending with chaos. Not order, not harmony, but chaos.
What does that even mean here?
Well, probably not chaos like messiness, more like philosophical chaos. The primordial unconditioned state. The formless potential from which everything emerges. Sealing the book with that suggests the ultimate state isn't rigid structure, but that foundational flux.
It's unexpected. And in the absolute final handwritten note right at the bottom, an SAOTO noticed for the first time that this book definitely refers to 666.
Okay, that's huge within this specific context. The OTO is an esoteric order associated with Crowley.
Right.
And this note explicitly links this whole text, the Magus, this path, this culmination in chaos definitively to the number 6666.
Which is often seen negatively.
In popular culture, sure. But within this system, 666 often relates to the sun, solar consciousness, maybe overcoming old limitations, a certain kind of spiritual force. This note is basically saying, pay attention, this is what 666 is really about in our system. It's a major interpretive key provided by the annotator.
What an ending. CAOS and 666 tied to the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've really walked through this intricate map from Liber Magi using the text and these fascinating notes. Let's try and connect this back for you, the listener.
Well, I think for anyone interested in, really understanding different systems of thought quickly but thoroughly, diving into something like this is illustrative. It shows how one specific tradition tries to structure these huge concepts of reality, power, consciousness, attainment. It gives you the vocabulary, the framework they use.
Yeah, and by digging into the specific points, the paradoxes, those number codes, the annotations, you're not just getting a vague overview. You're seeing the internal logic, the specific connections being made, how someone wrestled with it. You get a feel for the actual texture of the system,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly. You're understanding this particular map, not just that maps exist. How does this tradition define truth? What's its path? It's a specific lens on those big universal questions.
And we've seen quite a journey. The magus defined by duality, yet the craft is glamour. Power through directed love, working with truth and falsehood, identity tied to prime numbers.
Mastering creation, preservation, destruction, redemption, facing that curse of the grade on the path to formlessness.
Culminating in a state called that, described as nothingness, but experienced as being consciousness bliss.
And linked to Buddha states, carrying a burden of responsibility.
And then sealed with CAOS,
Yeah.
and explicitly tied to 666 by the annotator.
And those notes were just invaluable, right? Giving interpretations, pointing out numerical links, connecting to other figures, really showing someone's deep dive.
Absolutely. So maybe here's a thought to leave you with, something pulled right from this material we've looked at. If this system seals its ultimate attainment in the word CAOS, and the annotator explicitly flags its connection to 666, what might that imply about the nature of ultimate reality or spiritual power according to this worldview?
Yeah. What if true mastery through this particular lens isn't about perfect static order, but about embodying or operating from that primordial, potent, maybe even dangerous principle of chaos?
It definitely flips some conventional ideas on their head, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Something to chew on.